Baby, baby, baby. Did you know that this is National Infertility Awareness Week? Infertility impacts 11% of women of childbearing age, 9% of men, and roughly 15% of couples. Now, when it comes to fertility, most people focus on a woman's health, but it takes healthy eggs and a healthy sperm to conceive a baby. So registered dietitian Lisa Andrews of Soundbites Nutrition is here to kind of give us some tips to improve your chances of becoming parents. Lisa, great to see you.
Nice to see you, Pete.
Something I know that we dealt with in my house. So what are some of the foods that we need to be focusing on, maybe for women? Let's start there, to sort of improve their chances of conceiving.
Yeah, absolutely. So for starters, they shouldn't be on any kind of crash diet. Studies show that for one, like the baby's brain needs carbohydrates. So when you're thinking about getting pregnant, you want to think about, the long term. So there's good research on Mediterranean diet. So lots of foods that are high in antioxidants. So I brought kind of a variety of things. I've got, various vegetables, lots of different fruits. So these are, good sources of fiber too. Leafy greens, things like broccoli, kale, spinach, those are great. The other thing is managing blood sugar. So one of the reasons for infertility, particularly in women, is polycystic ovary syndrome, also known as PCOS. And so the issue with that is that when insulin is sort of disrupted, it impacts hormones, it impacts menstrual cycles, and it just impacts the risk of infertility. So with that said, the way to manage blood sugar is by including foods that are high in fiber. So again, all those fruits and vegetables, things like beans and brown rice, that's an easy meal to make. Having some kind of protein that's, fairly lean, with something high in fiber. That helps to manage blood sugar.
Okay. And so when it comes to the guys then, what about us? What sort of foods should men include in their diet?
So men also want to make sure that they're maintaining their blood sugar for healthy sperm and motility and those types of things. But things that contain zinc, so we've got, nuts and seeds, again, beans, high protein foods, those contain zinc. Those are great for just, the health of the sperm and again, motility. Tofu is also beneficial. It's a good source of protein. So for men or women that are vegan, that don't have animal sources in their diet, tofu is a good source for, again, any kind of beans or lentils are awesome.
Yeah, all right, that sounds good. So what about beverages or food that we should totally stay away from if we're looking to start a family?
It's kind of the obvious stuff. So for, managing blood sugar, you don't want a lot of processed carbohydrates.
Okay.
So if you're a pasta eater, it's better to have whole grain or whole wheat pasta. I would go really easy on things that have a lot of refined sugar. So all the stuff like, Red Mountain Dew, probably not the best idea. Processed candy, mac and cheese, things that are sort of ultra processed. One thing I should mention that's interesting about an infertility diet is that full-fat dairy products are actually advised because they help manage blood sugar a little better. So sometimes people will have, like for breakfast, maybe they'll have some Greek yogurt with berries.
Yogurt, and
then they'll toss, some granola on it. And the granola is pretty high in sugar, so what I suggest is they, chop up some almonds or pecans or something to give it that crunch without all that extra sugar.
That sounds good. And then make sure then that you actually try to find not the low-fat yogurt then.
Right. Yeah, you actually want like the full-fat yogurt. So enjoy it,
That's good. Well, these are some great tips here. Any other tips or advice for people?
So for men or women whose diet isn't, awesome, I mean, really, for anybody of childbearing age, they should be taking a multivitamin that contains folic acid and iron to support a healthy pregnancy. There's decent research on fatty fish. So including things like salmon or, if you're a vegetarian, flaxseed. Fish oil is another good source of omega-3s. They help to reduce inflammation so that, they make the womb, less inflamed and able to, implant the egg where it's supposed to be.
There you go. Well, Lisa, this is really great information. If somebody watching wants to learn more about you and Soundbites Nutrition, what's the best way to do that?
You can find me on most social media channels, Instagram and the like, at I am NutriGirl. And my website is just soundbitesnutrition.com.
All right. And we know that you always appreciate a good food pun, too.
Yeah. So my pun today is eat fruit, bear fruit.
How about that?
There you go.
That sounds good. Well, Lisa Andrews, Soundbites Nutrition, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.